I don't remember where I usually place this. I guess there's good. Good a spot as any. Thank you. Alright. Oh yeah. Now's the time. We back up in this bitch. Time to do some popcorn poppin'. I know it's Saturday and not Sunday. We changing things up. If you notice any other Sunday notices, please let me know, because I know I got a lot to update. Now it's time that we get the show on the road. We got a lot of things to talk about this evening. Some spotlight films, some limelight shows. I don't know if we're going to see Darth Sidious or not. I'm thinking not, because the host was pretty sick this week. So please do bear that in mind. All right. Let's get this show on the road.
You got any more water?
No!
Jeez.
You should have bought yourself TK's water bottle.
What's that?
A bottle to hold your water, fool!
I didn't know it was such a necessity.
Of course it is. Now you're gonna die with a parched throat as I drink some in front of you.
I want to die of thirst.
Then you better order one quick.
I'm gonna order one right now.
Until it comes in the mail, I'm gonna need some space. You may exit. What right now?
TK's water bottle. Buy one now before your demon friend eats your face.
Oh, yeah. It's about that time, y'all. I actually played the wrong video, so we're just going to get right to the show. And... Hello, and welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live, your weekly movie, TV, and streaming guide. You don't have time to figure out which movie to stream, what show to binge, and whether you should go out to see this or that on the big screen. There's too much content in the world, and you can't be wasting time. So let me be the time waster for you by watching all that looks vaguely interesting and advise you on what's poppin' and what ain't. Tonight, our spotlight films are The Outlaw, Johnny Black, A Haunting in Venice, and A Million Miles Away, along with the spotlight show, The Other Black Girl. But first, let's get into some poppin' questions. Charlotte from Charlottesville asks, when will the volcano taco be back at Taco Bell? Wow, I'm glad you asked that, Charlotte. I was pretty pissed to find out that they had it for about a month or two, and then they got rid of it completely. Now there's no reason to go to Taco Bell anymore, so I recommend you not going there. Eduardo from Ecuador asks, what's a good background show? Right now I'm watching Batman as a background show. By background show, this means like you can clean the house, walk in and out of the room. You don't need to worry about it. New Girl is a great choice. The only reason I'm doing Batman right now is because I'm trying to watch all of the background original animated DC TV shows. That way I have at least some more knowledge on the DC universe when James Gunn comes in. But I think if you're an adult, like I'm supposed to be, you should probably check out New Girl on Fox, or New Girl on Hulu. It is a Fox show, but Fox isn't a streaming platform. Or you could also check out The Wire on Max. If you have watched the show before, I mean, it's a great show to sit down and watch. Don't get me wrong, but there is a lot of talking in it. So I think that that's actually not a bad show to have on a loop all the time. A lot of people watch The Office. You can watch on Peacock right now. It is entirely up to you. And now let's get to the news. So we're going to jump a little back and forth on some of the news, specifically that involves the creators meeting up with studios to be going over the strikes and try to reach some sort of agreement. Kenya Barris, who is the creator of Blackish, Noah Hawley, creator of Fargo, and Sam Esmail created Mr. Robot. Basically, a bunch of showrunners were supposed to be meeting up with the co-chair Chris Kieser and other union officials to try to work out a deal to work out the strike. That was supposed to happen Friday. They actually rescheduled it to a later date, and they said it's because of availability. Some people believe because there was a recent holiday. I think it's a Jewish holiday that I'm not familiar with. Russia, man, what is it? September 15th. Oh, yeah, because yesterday was Friday. What was it? Not Hispanic Heritage Month. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. It was something. I think it was a Jewish holiday, so that could have been one reason. However, another reason people are thinking is because there was a little bit of an incident with talk shows actually starting to come back. That's been announced. So let me read you a little something from Variety. Per the Hollywood Reporter, folks like Kenya Barris and Sam Esmail were expecting to sit down at the WGA's LAQ HQ on Friday, but blah, 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 blah. They didn't get back in the room. A resumption of negotiations is a good sign, but writers like Christina Canone, who is the co-head writer of the Drew Barrymore show, worries that the decisions, like her bosses, might actually extend the work stoppage that will continue to hamstring Hollywood. So that's what leads us into the sad news. There are talk shows that are coming back. You could look at this as good, but it's somewhat bad too. Apparently, Drew Barrymore posted a video, and I don't like to get into the personal shit of like the gossip of Hollywood, but I do think that what's going on is pretty important with the future of film and television. Basically, all these shows, including talk shows, because they have writers, were supposed to not air anymore in solidarity with the Writers Guild Association strike. However, Drew Barrymore, I believe, was the first, amongst other talk shows, that decided to go back into production without actually, doing any advertisements for any new films or TV shows, any press love, stuff like that, and no writers. And her reasoning, which was in a sense deleted Instagram video, was she was very, very sorry, but she basically picked the lesser of two evils. She didn't say that exact quote, but that was basically what she was saying, that this strike actually affects more than just the writers, but an entire crew and not cast of people, I would say. A lot of other jobs are on the line during the strike, not just the writers. So she took the lesser of two evils. Not her words, by the way. I'm using that word. Belle Maurer did the same thing. Jennifer Hudson, I didn't know she had a show, but the Jennifer Hudson show is coming back too. So all these shows are coming back, and I just find it strange that these were announced the week that showrunners were about to meet up with, about to have meetings to help work on this strike, make sure everyone reaches common ground. But of course they didn't, and this could put a damper on things. I don't think I deserve to give an opinion, but just to give an opinion as someone who watches a lot of movies and television, totally with the writer's strike. I think that, especially with the AI shit, residuals, I do think it's kind of bullshit that actors like Aaron Paul or Bryan Cranston aren't getting any money whatsoever. At least Aaron Paul said he didn't get any money from Netflix ever, and that was like such a huge show on there. So there are problems with these, and there is a reason that these studios are hiding the numbers of how popular these shows and movies are doing on streaming sites. Because the better that they do, the more people are like, hey, wait a minute, maybe I should get some money from that. It's being so goddamn popular. I read that the guy who played, what's the big guy's name from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Zoltan Rangers leader. Zordon. I was close. The guy who did Zordon only filmed for one day, and they reused his footage a bunch after that, and he received only $200 for the day or something like that, even if it was $6. Anything that didn't give him more money after that is ridiculous. So I understand the strike. I do understand where Drew Barrymore is coming from, saying there are other jobs on the line that don't. Some of these things that the writers are asking for have nothing to do with the sound engineer or blah 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 blah. And these people also need to make a living as well. Yet to do it at this specific time is a little strange, because there was some sign of hope after weeks of we're not meeting up for a while. We shall see. It's kind of scary stuff. Let's get into some cool news. One Piece has been renewed. I haven't watched the show since half of episode 1. It wasn't that I disliked it. It just isn't for me. But I hear it's a pretty good rendition of the anime television series that you can watch on Netflix right now. Just know that a season 2 is coming up. Some cold news. Wonder Years has been canceled by ABC after 2 years. Some dope news. Brightburn 2 is going to happen. If you haven't seen Brightburn 1, I highly recommend it. It's a great, it's basically a ripoff of Superman, but what would happen if he ended up being evil. So Super dope. Has Elizabeth Banks. James Gunn produced it. And it's just a really good movie. I highly recommend it. You can watch it on Sling TV now or rent it for $4. That's the dope news. Here's the scary news. Brightburn 2 is happening with AI. It's been announced that this film, along with some others, but this is the big one, is they're implementing AI to write the script. I don't like it personally, but I do know that it's the way of the future, and I have no choice but to try to accept it. I'm against it. We've had enough films and movies. What's going on with me doing double meanings? Television and TV, films and movies. We've had enough content in the world, Terminator, Skynet, that has told us that AI is scary and we shouldn't do it. But then again, we have to keep moving forward, right? Wrong. I don't like AI. It's scary. Plus, anyways. Movies are coming out that's going to be written by AI. Brightburn 2 has been greenlit to be one of them. All right, let's get into the batch of stuff that I have been watching. I know usually I don't exactly stop and start again with Ahsoka. Usually I talk over it without the music. But this past episode wasn't as big as everyone thought it would be. I thought it was a very well-made episode. It's not a filler episode, but the story doesn't exactly move forward. We just get a little nostalgic of Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka. Am I having a stroke? Ahsoka Tano. Time. What's happening to me? So here's the thing. I wasn't going to bring back the show today because I'm very sick. You're not going to notice any new sketches on tonight, except for one maybe at the end. But it's a very simple one-shot. You'll see later. Point being, I'm sick, and I've been extremely busy. I have a new roommate who is making a mess of things, and it's driving me nuts. But he's okay. In any case, it's a cat. I got a cat. I don't know if I'm going to keep adopting him or not, though. Like, if he seems like he doesn't want to be here anymore, it was a stray I brought to the vet. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll take care of it. This has nothing to do with movies and television. I was explaining to you, he's not the reason I'm sick either, but he may be the reason I'm having allergies. In any case, I've been busy taking care of that thing. That person, that is not a person. That being. And I've been busy with filming and sketches and stuff outside of Popcorn Poppin. So bear with me. Ahsoka Tano. The show is about Jedi dropout Ahsoka Tano, who tries to find Grand Admiral Thrawn before the First Order finds him first. She searches alongside Hera, Sabine, Chopper to also find Ezra and train Sabine to be a Jedi for some reason. Should have listened to Hu Yang last week. Ahsoka and Sabine stick together. Now you're in the world between worlds, or you have a little weird ghosts, drug-fueled episode where you fight him and then remember the times in the Clone Wars, which was super cool and nostalgic. You haven't watched Clone Wars or Rebels, you got to watch them before watching Ahsoka. It was cool to see the world between worlds without getting into the nitty-gritty. It was really, really dope. It was cool to see Anakin. Hayden Christensen did a good job. It would be cool if they got the voice of that Anakin to somehow be involved in that episode. Maybe they did, and I don't know it. But it was a cool episode. Let's get into the actual mission at hand, writers. What else have I watched? Dreaming Whilst Black, which you can watch on Fridays on Paramount Plus. It's a British black film student dropout. Kwabena. God, I can't pronounce his name. Quits. I practiced it a few times before doing this. Quits his job to get serious about making his movie. The reason I mentioned that he's a black film student dropout is because it's about a black man trying to make it in film or in I almost said America, but I'm pretty sure this is in England. Just trying to make it in any industry that doesn't involve awkward, slightly to mega racist white people. So, hijinks ensue. It's a very great show. I highly recommend it. Check it out, Paramount Plus. The Changeling, Apple TV Plus Fridays, stars Lakeith Stanfield as Apollo, who him and Emma's love story is a fairy tale until Emma mysteriously vanishes. Bereft, Apollo finds himself on a death-defying odyssey through a New York City he didn't know existed. Fairly good show from what I've seen so far. I've still only seen the first episode, and I was like, I don't know about this. You just really have to give into this is all a fairy tale thing in order to fully enjoy it. Winning Time, Sundays on Max. Lakers story continues with the feud between Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. You can watch this Sundays at 9 or 10 on HBO and Max. Still great season. And we also have Only Murders in the Building, murder mystery comedy starring Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. Guest stars include Paul Rudd, Meryl Streep, and Matthew Broderick this season. Very funny show still. It's just, I don't like them apart. Get them back together. Breeders, you can watch Mondays on FXX, Hulu the next day. I believe they only got 1 or 2 episodes left, and this is their final season. So if you haven't watched the show, get into it now if you like family drama, because this is a great family drama show. Stars Martin Freeman, and it's a great show. Reservoir Dogs, you can watch Tuesdays on Hulu. This season's getting a little better. They have all the reservation dogs together, and they had like a little mission, and I'm assuming it's their last mission of reservation dogs, because they recruited the rest of the townspeople that you see on some other episodes. Funny show. You can watch the final season Wednesdays on Hulu. Minx is over, actually. We got to change that to it being on Stars, because this second season is over. We'll see if it gets greenlit for a third season after the first season was actually canceled, but then picked up by Stars. Let's see if they can do another season. It stars Jake Johnson and Ophelia Something, who started an adult magazine company for women. I was so angry at one aspect of the finale that involves Jake Johnson, but still great television. I hated that last episode, but it wasn't like they did a terrible job at this last episode. It was, oh, I hate that this is happening in this last episode. But I'm pretty excited to see what they come up with next. Harley Quinn is also another done show that I forgot to put. So you can watch the entire series, including, I don't know what just passed, season 3 on Max right now. This season revolved around Poison Ivy trying to take control of Legion of Doom without having Lex Luthor in her way, and Harley Quinn trying to join the Bat family to show that she can be a hero and not a villain. Season ended very strong. I am very excited to see what they do with next season. It's basically they're going to try to do Birds of Prey, and I hope they do a better job than the movie, which I just noticed you can stream on Netflix, or not Netflix, on Hulu right now. I'm going to rewatch it because I only watched it once, and I think it's better a second time around. But if you continued watching the episode after the credits, you would have saw a teaser trailer for Kite Man. Hell yeah. A spinoff series starring Kite Man. Totally going to watch it. It's ridiculous that they're making this, but I'm pretty excited nonetheless. Finally, in our batch is Futurama, which you can watch Mondays on Hulu. Not a fan of this renewed season. I'm sorry. I'm still laughing, but I just want the more serious episodes to happen. All right, on the honorable mentions, before we get into what was the spotlight and limelight movies and television shows, The Morning Show has returned. These are shows and movies that I haven't watched that you might find interesting. I've watched the first season of Morning Show, which stars Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston on a news show tackling workplace harassment issues. You can watch new episodes Wednesdays on Apple TV+. First season was great, and I'm excited to watch seasons 2 and 3. I just haven't had time to catch up on the show yet. Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, you can watch this Sundays on AMC. It's highly rated. They've only had 1 episode so far, but I'm glad that the show's good. Maybe I'll get back into Walking Dead. Who knows? Probably not. It's a lot of zombie episodes because there's like a gajillion of them, and there's like 4 spin-off shows now. Satanic Hispanics. It's basically Hispanic Tales from the Hood, which is in select theaters right now. I wanted to see this. I like anthology horror. This looks okay. It looks like some shorts in the movie are better than others, but I'm excited to check this out because it's spooky season, bitches. Finally, Elevator Game you can watch on Shudder. This movie looks bad. It's basically a Bloody Mary game you can play in an elevator, and shit goes awry when teenagers or young adults try to make videos of themselves playing the game and thinking, oh, it's all a joke, but apparently it isn't. All right, let us get into the spotlight film. One of them is A Haunting in Venice. The reason I'm bringing up this movie first is because I think most people have seen advertisements for this rather than the other films that I'm going to go over tonight. This is Kenneth Branagh's third Agatha Christie film revolving around Hercule Poirot. I'm probably mispronouncing that. It's the dude with the long mustache in the picture right there. He is French, I believe. First two movies were Murder on the Orient Express, which you can watch on Hulu Live, Sling, or rent, and Death on the Nile, which you can watch on Hulu. Both movies are fairly good. You know, Agatha Christie is a writer from the 18th century or some shit. I don't know, a very old writer. But she was one of the strongest voices of the mystery genre, specifically in novels, but helped shape how mystery film noir is today, with some twists and turns of said mysteries. And Kenneth Branagh has a really good eye on direction in general, but with these films, he does old Hollywood tricks to make them more interesting. Because let's face it, some things don't age. Definitely some things don't age well. Agatha Christie, it's not that her shit doesn't age well. It's just shit that we've seen before, like her little twists and turns. We've seen recycled so much in recent times because we've adapted when it comes to contemporary art and like trying to change the audience's expectations of what's going to happen next. I knew the ending of this movie towards the beginning. It was funny. I used things like, oh, he's involved because of this scene. And it turns out, yes, he's involved, but not because of that scene. So it was interesting grabbing these breadcrumbs and thinking, oh, that means that this breadcrumb points to that person being the killer, for example. And it turns out, yeah, that person's the killer, but that breadcrumb was actually just like random pieces of bread that had nothing to do with the plot. So I did that a couple times with this film, but it's still well made. Tina Fey has more of a serious role in it. Michelle Yeoh is awesome as always, but she plays a quote unquote medium or psychic. And the first two films were more of just mysteries, with the first one being on a train and kind of dealing with like high society a bit. 2, high society. 3, I guess high society in general. But 2 was like more like Hollywood, bright lights, vacation-y shit. So was 1. 3 is a little different, I promise. And by that, it's spookier. It is a good Halloween film, but it is coming to the point where they're dealing with maybe ghosts. You don't know. They've never dealt with the supernatural before this. And I'm sure that Kenneth actually made it very, very close to the original novels, because this has such, not like corny, like, oh, I don't want to watch this anymore, but corny, like, I can tell this is based off of an old book. And it still works. And it happened how I thought it would happen. I didn't think this, but basically Hercule's character is in retirement and he doesn't want to solve any crimes. But an old friend brings him to a seance with a psychic to see if she's real or fake. And Hercule will figure it out for funsies. And hijinks ensue, and a murder happens. Hijinks means funny. Nothing really that funny happens in this movie, but nonetheless entertaining. Is it poppin'? It's poppin' for at home if you're interested in mystery films. It's not scary. It's spooky, but it's not scary. I recommend it if you like Kenneth Branagh. I recommend it if you like mystery. But if you're looking for like a scary movie, there's a couple behind me I can tell that were like, this is scary. It's because it's supposed to be in the scary type of mood, but it's more mystery than it is horror. But they do some cool angles and editing that make it feel like an old Hollywood film. So bravo to Kenneth. I think it's popping for a lot of cinematic film reasons. But when it comes to entertainment reasons amongst the general public, I recommend waiting for streaming if you're very, very curious. Next up, the Outlaw Johnny Black. I was ecstatic for this movie. Why? Because Michael J. White, the co-writer of Black Dynamite, but not director of Black Dynamite, along with another writer from Black Dynamite, come back to do another movie together. And it's basically like Black Dynamite, but a Western. Except it's a Western. So the thing about Black Dynamite, they're both blaxploitation films, but Black Dynamite kind of leaned into the cheapness of making a blaxploitation film and messed with like where the camera was and everything. It was like we knew and they knew that this is a movie being made. The Outlaw Johnny Black is not like them making a movie. This is a real situation that we're seeing unfold before us. When we're watching Black Dynamite, we're watching characters make a movie. we're watching actors make a sexy, kick-ass movie. And in this, we're just watching a Western, if that makes sense. Michael J. White is actually in the director's chair, and I think he did a good job fairly. I just wanted more of that third wall or fourth wall breaking, where sometimes they look into the camera and shit. It's hard to explain, but they do some things where they fuck with postmodernism. Like he looks up and he has a thought bubble of a scene that happened earlier, and he has another thought bubble of that as well. They do some silly shit in this, but it was more focused to me on story than it was on comedy, which is fine. But I'm going to admit something, and it's not me talking shit about the movie. Maybe the seats were very comfortable because this is only in select theaters, and the only select theater that was around me was MJR. I usually go to AMC because of the Stubbs A-list. So I paid an extra $10 for their super comfy seats and their super VIP section. And it was so super comfy, I fell asleep several times watching this movie. Maybe it was just the seat being very comfortable, or maybe the movie wasn't as interesting as I thought it was going to be. It was hilarious, but I will say, Poppin or not, wait for streaming. If you want to go out with a bunch of friends to go see it, I still think it's going to be a little less funny than you thought it was going to be. As the movie progresses, it gets funnier and funnier, but it didn't quite hit. Instead, I would recommend watching Black Dynamite, at least in preparation of watching this. That way you can compare both and see what I'm saying when it comes to watching a film that seems to be a movie being made in front of us, rather us watching a movie. And you can rent that for $4 on YouTube right now. Next up, sincerely the best movie I watched all weekend that I did not think I was going to take time to watch, but I did earlier today. This stars Michael Pena and Rosa Salazar. It's called A Million Miles Away, which you can watch on Amazon Prime right now. Great movie. It is about the real-life account of Jose Hernandez, who was born in Mexico, and while working in the fields, he co-developed the first digital mammography imaging system. I missed that part. I remember them talking about it a little bit. He then persevered to become a crew member on a space shuttle mission. So it's about the first immigrant farm worker to make it into space. And it's about hard work paying off. And it's one thing I liked about it a lot is it's broken up into 4 or 5 different parts that are the ingredients to success that his father had taught him. And it's just really good. It's a feel-good movie. Not going to lie. I cried multiple times. I like to cry at good scenes, at like, oh, they finally did it scenes, especially if it's well-constructed very well. And this movie had very well-constructed scenes of success. Kind of like the scene where Will Smith gets the job in Pursuit of Happiness. Spoiler alert. I was so happy that I cried so much when he goes out in the street and he's clapping. There's a few of those feel good moments in this. I didn't cry as hard as Pursuit of Happiness, but I was like, fuck, man, that's a good scene. So I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen, you have seen Michael Pena before, I guarantee it, but you've mostly seen him in comedy. Wait a minute. Yeah, right? Yes, he's from Ant-Man, right? I have to double check. Yeah, he's from. You know why he looks so different? Because he usually has facial hair and glasses, and it's weird to see his baby face. Anyways, Michael Pena, you've seen him in Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2, but not Ant-Man 3 for some damn reason. He's great in it, but Rosa Salazar, who is one of my favorite actresses, she is in more newer stuff because she's, younger. She's been in Bird Box, brand new Cherry Flavor miniseries, which is on Netflix. It's okay. It's more weird and violent than anything, but most people might know her from Undone or Alita Battle Angel. Excellent actress. One of my favorite actresses. I highly recommend checking out her filmography and checking out her stuff. But she's great in this film. Very supportive partner of someone that's trying to achieve their dreams while you're trying to achieve your dreams as well. So it's a very inspiring film about hard work and making sure that it pays off, hopefully, and trying to work harder and harder no matter how long it takes until you achieve that goal. It's about tenacity. And it does a great job doing that. So I recommend watching this on Prime. I'd say it's good for the family. The only thing about it is it's about hard work, no matter what, doing it, no matter how long it takes. But, I'm at a point in my life personally where it's like, yeah, but what if you haven't worked hard all of your life and you're just starting to work hard? Does that mean I'm not going to be successful until I'm 60? Because this motherfucker was working hard for 30 years before he got his big break. Check it out. It's on Prime. You'll see what I'm talking about. Next movie. I kind of want to say I liked this movie more than A Million Miles Away, but it's just the end was really weird. It's a weird film, but it's a lot of fun. This is called El Conde, or The Count, which you can watch on Netflix. I love this movie. Is it poppin'? I think it's poppin'. It's not your typical Dracula film, but it's basically Dracula. Augusto Pinochet, who's a Dracula type, is a vampire ready to die, but the vultures around him won't let him go without one last bite. It's a Chilean black comedy directed by Pablo Larraín, who actually did Jackie with Natalie Portman and Spencer with Kristen Stewart, and Lisey's story, that Julianne Moore, Clive Owen miniseries on Apple TV+. You can check this movie out on Netflix. The director did I haven't seen Spencer, but I saw Jackie with Natalie Portman. Very well made film. Very serious film. This is not a serious film. It has serious moments, but mostly dark comedy. And basically, it's about this really old-ass Dracula who has this family, and he was in the Chilean government, and he decides he wants to die, but yet he's still going out to hunt. And his children want to inherit all the riches he gained over the years, so they kind of want him to die. Also, he has hired a female exorcist who has the hots for him. And what other element? There is great narration in this film by a British woman, and they do a twist on the narrator towards the end of the film that makes you go, oh, this is a pretty cool thing to do with the narrator. But not only that, they do another idea with the narrator that's so weird, it'll make you scratch your head. And ever since that reveal towards the end, things happen to characters like deaths that happen so quick. You're like, wait, what? That happened? And it's a strange film, but I love it. It's very violent. I don't love violence, but I love a horror movie that can do violence well. This movie does violence very well. Spoiler alert. There is a horse decapitation scene from a guillotine. So if you don't like watching animals die, don't watch this movie. But if you like a different type of Dracula film, check this out. I may have liked this more than The Last Voyage of the Demeter, but that's probably more of the general audience's speed than this one is. So check it out on Netflix right now if you want to give it a shot. And our final big thing to talk about tonight, Limelight show, The Other Black Girl, which you can watch on Hulu. The whole first season's out right now. Rashida Jones co-created and produced this show. It's a great show. It stars, I forgot to look up her name, but she was in the last Insidious film. Let's see. Her name is Sinclair Daniel. I loved her in Insidious, not The Last Key. Insidious, whatever, Chapter 4. I don't know. The last Insidious movie that came out this year. You know what I'm talking about. This actress was really good in that. It was the first thing I saw her in. She's fairly new. It's cool that she's starring in her own television series. It's about the only black woman who works at a publishing company until there's a new employee. Guess what color she is? It's a creepy but funny show. And my biggest criticism of it is that it does things where, like, the character walks up to a reflection and sees it move and go, oh! And it's supposed to be a jump scare, but you're like, that shit wasn't scary. But that's not important with the show. It's about the mystery of, like, the fuckery that's going on with the other black girl. Pretty well made, and it gets better as it continues. I'm in episode 4 or 5 right now, so I'll have to let you know what I think of the whole series as it unfolds. I kind of think I know what where the twist is going, and they kind of give more hints of what that is in episode 4, I believe. So check it out. You can check it out on Hulu right now. And let's talk about what's coming out next week. I left the count on there the whole time. Damn it, Tony, you fool. Sorry about that, guys. All right, next week, Did I leave that on too? I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing, guys. There we go. Expendables 4. Probably the thing I'm least excited about next week, to be honest. No one wanted this. We don't need another Expendables. 3 sucked from what I remember, and 1 and 2 aren't that great, but it's fun to have like corny old action stars team up to defeat the villain. I don't see Jet Li. That's an issue. And at least we got Jason Statham. It looks like they kind of sidelined Sylvester Stallone. I watched some of the trailer. I highly recommend checking out the first trailer that came out for this film. It's really cool. It makes you think like it's a Mr. and Mrs. Smith film, but it's not. It's Expendables 4. It's just no one asked for this. I don't know why they're doing it. It says old blood meets new blood. Someone that's part of that new blood is Megan Fox and Curtis Jackson, a.k.a. 50 Cent. I'll watch it because they are fun. No matter how bad they are fun. But like there's bad and there's good bad. And 3 is supposed to be good bad, but I just thought it was bad. Hopefully 4 is good bad. I'd rather it be good bad than good, to be honest, because that's how the type of movie it should be. Sylvester Stallone was like writing and directing these films, and he's not doing that anymore. And I believe the third one was PG-13, while the first 2 were R. So let's see what the rating is for 4. Hopefully they go back to R, and they did. That's good, because I fucking hate when movies do that. Yeah. So they went back to R, so maybe it'll be better than 3. It's coming out in theaters Thursday. No One Will Save You. I'm excited for this fucking movie. I watched 20 seconds of the trailer. I was like, I'm sold. This looks good as hell. It stars Caitlin Dever, and I think you can guess what the movie's about by checking out this poster. And if you're listening to this and not watching this, you can see a female being levitated out of a house with a bright light over her. This looks like one of the best home invasion movies you'll ever see. Or should I say home abduction movies you'll ever see. It looks very well done. This is a new director, I believe. I'm glad that I haven't seen any new trailers, and I'm glad it's coming out on Hulu next week. I'm trying not to watch Hulu because I sadly watch it with ads, and I don't want to watch any more ads for this movie. It looks dope. Check out the trailer. But let me know if the second half of the trailer looks shitty and I only like the first half. I think this is going to be very good. It's on Hulu Friday. The Return of Sex Education. It's their final season, and it'll be releasing on Netflix Thursday. If you haven't watched the show, it's a hilarious coming-of-age series about a awkward kid in high school in England, and his mom's a sex therapist, and he decides to use what he's learned from his mom to become the sex therapist in high school after kids find it difficult to talk about such sensitive issues with adults. That was a pretty good explanation, if I do say so myself. Check out this on Netflix Thursday. The Continental. If you're watching this on Instagram, thank you. I really appreciate it. Check this out on YouTube so you can see the graphics. Anyways, The Continental. I'm super excited for this. I'm honestly more excited for No One Will Save You, but at least we know that this will be good. The Continental will be released on Peacock Friday. Is a 3-part event, and it is a prequel series to the John Wick films. I do believe we're going to get some announcements on how John Wick is going to continue. Whether they announce they're going to make a John Wick Chapter 5, I personally don't want it, but of course I'll see it because John Wick 4 was so perfect. Why try to change that? Why try to one-up greatness? Anyways, The Continental is a prequel series, and I think that once the show ends, they'll either announce Chapter 5 or they'll announce the Donnie Yen spin-off movie or television series that they're going to be doing with that girl at the end of Chapter 4. You know what I'm talking about if you saw Chapter 4. But also, there's supposed to be a ballerina project with Anna de Armas that we haven't heard anything about lately. So hopefully we get some teasers going. Get a good John Wick universe that can take over the MCU because MCU fucking sucks now. That's it. That's the end. I really appreciate you watching. To explain again, we're going to be changing this to Saturdays at 11. I had a lot of people pop in and out, so it's kind of the same thing as Sundays, it looks like. I don't think I'm ever going to create a general audience of more than 3 or 1 person, but it's nice to dream, isn't it? And if you like what you see, comment. If you don't like what you see, comment. If you have any Poppin questions, which I answer weekly and I try to make sketches of or try to do some fun shit with it, doesn't have to be about movies and television shows. It can be about whatever you want, but I would really greatly appreciate you saying stuff. And, you know, we are going to, and I chose this slot. I know you don't have to listen to this, but I chose this slot because I'm taking a sketch comedy class. We're putting up a sketch show, which is going to be premiering at Planet Ant the last 2 weekends of October. So make sure to go check that out. I'm taking a short film class. I'm in a farm team at Planet Ant. I'm doing a lot at Planet Ant. But I'm trying to be more creative, and I want to do more sketch shows. And I don't want to fucking judge other films and television. But this medium of what I'm doing now is the thing I've been most consistent with. But I'd like to do some different things like sketches. Spooky season's around the corner, so let's get some horror things going. Point being, I chose Saturday at 11 because growing up, I loved Mad TV first, and that started at 11 p.m. And lo and behold, my favorite podcaster is Bobby Lee. Crazy motherfucker, but when it comes to addiction and honestly a lot of his comedy, he's pretty gross, but he's my guy. Anyways, Mad TV was on at 11. 11:30 was SNL. Both sketch shows. Let's make this a sketch show. But that requires me to do a lot more hard work. If you'd like to help or whatever, let me know. But I want to get this moving. You guys have a very good night. Enjoy your Sunday. And remember the recommendations. And also if you have any fan picks that you want me to watch for next week that I could add into the Spotlight films, let me know. Kate Wilson suggested Reality to me, which I don't think I would have actually pushed myself to watch without that recommendation. So please recommend something. And again, what I recommend to go watch tomorrow is, I'm losing juice. A Million Miles Away on Amazon Prime, The Count on Netflix, The Other Black Girl on Hulu. I call that Poppin'. And Thursday, you can see Expendables 4 in theater. Do I think it will be poppin'? No. No One Will Save You on Hulu Friday. Will it be poppin'? Yes. Sex Education on Netflix Thursday. Yes, it will be poppin'. And The Continental will also be poppin' on Peacock Friday. I am your host, Sickly. Good night, good morrow, and farewell.